The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed.
Well, look who it is. That's right, it's me. And I hope you guys are very excited for another brand new video. Now, I want to first address the elephant in the room, and that is that yes, I'm not in my normal filming location, because my normal filming location is in my bedroom back at home. But as you can probably tell, I am not at home. I am at school because it is February, so I am away at school for college, and I am in my room for my college apartment. Now, if you want to see what my college apartment looks like and get a whole tour of my college apartment, including my bedroom, then I had filmed that video last year. So if you want to see what my college apartment looks like and bedroom looks like, you can go check out that video. If you haven't seen that video before, it'll be linked in my description box down below, so you can go watch that video. But I will say, when I did film that video, I wasn't in this bedroom. I was in a different bedroom in the same apartment, but not this bedroom. And my bedding is completely different from when I filmed that video because I had different bedding. But I've got this new bedding, and I love it. And also, I will say that the decor for my apartment is a little different and stuff has moved. So if you guys do want me to, I can do an updated apartment tour for you guys if you'd like to see that and see what this bedroom looks like. It's pretty much the same as the old one, only everything's kind of flipped and the bedding is different. And I have some new decor pieces for my apartment. So if you want to see an updated apartment tour, just let me know in the comments down below. Now for this video, this is going to be my first story time video. Now the reason why I haven't done a story time video before on this channel is because I never thought I had something worthy enough to share as a story time video. And what I mean by worthy enough, I mean like exciting enough or interesting enough to share with you as a story time video. But I did have something happen to me last semester for school, and I thought it was unique and interesting, so I thought, why not share with you as a story time video, because I don't think this has happened to a lot of people. So without further ado, let's just jump right on into the video. So this story takes place last year in August, near the end of August, and it was actually the first week of my fall semester of college, my senior year, which it is currently my senior year, if you didn't know. But yeah, it took place my last fall semester of college, on the first week of college, on exactly the first day of classes. So what happened was, I was sitting in this exact room on this bed, and I was just doing my homework. It was almost 10 o'clock at night, had my lamp over here on, and I was just finishing up my homework. And I finished my homework. It was like, as I said, almost 10 o'clock at night. And I had finished my homework, started putting it all away, and I was about to get ready for bed. But all of a sudden, my lamp turns off, and I didn't turn it off. So it's like the power went out. But I thought it just meant that the bulb had gone out, meaning I needed to get new bulbs. So it was like, as I said, 10 o'clock at night. I'm just standing in my room like, okay, that's just weird. But then I hear my roommate in the room next to me leave her room immediately as my light had gone off in my room. And so I leave my room thinking, okay, maybe the lights went off in her room, so it's not just my room. So I leave my bedroom and I go out in our little like area right between our two rooms. And she's like, did the power go out in your room? And I'm like, yes. And then we're just wondering, okay, what happened? And then our other roommates that are over there, that side, come out of their rooms and are like, did the power go out in both of you guys' rooms? And we say yes. So I was just standing near the front door, because if you didn't see my college apartment tour, then you wouldn't know that right by the front door there is a light on the ceiling. And I had turned that light on earlier in the evening, so that light was still on. So it wasn't like the power was out completely. So we're just standing there wondering what's going on, because since that light wasn't out, it meant the power wasn't completely out. So we're just standing there trying to figure out what's going on. But then all of a sudden, that light goes out. And we're like, okay, what's going on? Meaning, is the power out like in just our apartment or a whole building, or is this just like a fluke or something? So we're standing around wondering what's going on. And then my roommate says, oh, maybe we should go turn off our computers, because since the power's out, we don't want to keep our computers on. So we go and turn off our computers and everything. Then we come back in the living room. And something you should know about my apartment, which you would know if you see my apartment tour video, but if you didn't, then what you should know is that in my apartment, on all of the ceilings, there are no lights. Like, for example, in my bedroom, which I'm in now, there are no lights on the ceiling here. So I have a lamp right here next to my bed. Then I have another lamp right here that has 3 light bulb head things for it. And that is actually what I had on when the power went out. So, okay, so back to my story. So we're just standing there in our living room after we turn on our computers, trying to figure out what's going on. But then we hear people in the hallway of our apartment building. And so my one roommate goes and opens my door, and she says, oh, is the power out in all of you guys' apartments as well? And they all say yes. So now we know it's not just our apartment that the power has gone out in. It's every apartment on our floor. We don't know yet if it's our whole building. So this is just our floor. We know the power has gone out. And so she comes back in, and she's like, okay, so the power has gone out on our whole floor. So we're just standing in our living room wondering what to do. And granted, it is dark in our living room, and at this time I didn't have any candles, like fake candles, because we can't have any real candles because it's a fire hazard, and I didn't have a flashlight, so it was pretty dark in our apartment. But luckily my one roommate remembered she had this thing that's almost like a lamp, not a lamp, like a flashlight or a candle thing. So she brings that out and puts it on the table in our living room, a coffee table, I guess you can call it, in our living room. And so we're all sitting there wondering, what are we supposed to do? And two of my roommates call their parents and tell them what's going on. And my one roommate's mother is like saying, okay, maybe you need to leave the building and stuff like this. But then after a while, they had gotten off the phone, and we just wondered, what are we supposed to do? And we start worrying about how long the power is going to be out, what's going to happen with all our food in the refrigerator. Is going to go bad? Because if the power is out for a long time, then the food in the refrigerator might go bad. So we're all just wondering, what are we going to do and what's going on? And then after a while, we hear a loud banging, almost like that, but a lot louder, on our front door. And one of us, I don't remember which one it was, goes to answer, and it's the fire department. It's firemen, and they're saying, you need to leave the building, you need to evacuate. So they leave our apartment, and we immediately go and grab our cell phones, our keys to get back into the building and our rooms, and money just in case we might need it. Although I just grabbed my cell phone and keys to get back into my apartment, I didn't grab any money. But thinking back at it, I wish I had. But anyhow, so we go and leave our apartment, and we're outside, and everybody where I live for school, it is not just like one apartment building like where I am. It's almost like an apartment complex where there's like, I think 3 apartment buildings, and then kind of like, there's like 4 floors to each building. And everyone from every apartment building was outside wondering what's going on, because everyone in every apartment building had to evacuate their apartment. So we're all standing out there, what's going on? And my RA for my building, for my floor, is out there, and she's handing out snacks to people. And she comes over to my group, which is me and my roommates, and one of my roommates asks, so what's going on? And apparently what had happened is that someone was drunk, and they were driving, and they were in the area of my apartment complex, and they ended up running into an electrical box, I guess that's what you call it, and it took out the electricity in one of the apartment buildings. But since that apartment building electricity went out, she said that the people that have to fix the power for that building had to turn off the power in the whole area. So it wasn't just the that apartment that didn't have power because the power went out. They had to turn it off for the whole area. And in that area, besides having apartments, they also have Moe's, Chick-fil-A, Subway, Sweet Frog, and a few businesses. So they had to turn off the power in the whole building. So if the power was out for a few days, that would be detrimental to Moe's, Sweet Frog, Subway, and Chick-fil-A because their food would go bad. So we're all standing out there like, oh my God, how long is this going to be? What are we supposed to do now? And so we're standing out there, and then someone like hollers, who's one of the RAs, and they say the whole thing that happened was someone was drunk, and they ran into the electrical box, and they took the power out in one of the apartment buildings. So in order to fix, as I just said, in order to fix the power, they had to turn it off in the whole area. So we're just standing around wondering, what are we supposed to do? Because if you don't go to college, or you haven't been to college, or don't remember, or if your college is different, for my college, in order to get into the apartment buildings, you have to scan your ID card. So basically, you just go up to the door to the apartment and just put it on this like box right next to the front door, and it scans the card and you can go in. But that is, as you can probably guess, that is with electricity, so we wouldn't be able to get back into our apartment. So me and my roommates are just standing around thinking, what are we supposed to do? And actually, I would like to say I am glad that me and my roommates stuck together during this time of crisis, I guess you could call it, because I thought for sure that they would have ran off and tried to find their own idea of what to do and like where they're going to stay for the night if we couldn't go back into our apartment that night. But we all stuck together, which is what I really liked about my roommates and why I liked living with them, is we all stuck together during this time of crisis. So we're all standing around thinking, what are we supposed to do? And my one roommate is getting agitated and angry and just grumpy. So she goes up to our RA and she's like, what are we supposed to do? And the RA is like, oh, well, just go stay with someone you know here at Longwood, or just someone in general, and spend the night with them. Because we apparently couldn't go back into our apartment that night. So she was pretty mad because they didn't have, the RAs didn't have a plan for this because they didn't know this was going to happen at all. So they didn't have any idea what we should do. So they were just like, oh, go stay with someone you know. But me and my roommates, sadly, and this may sound bad, but we don't know anyone else besides each other that we could have gone to stay with. So it was kind of like we're stranded with nowhere to stay for the night. So we're all just still standing around. My one roommate's mad because, oh my God, it was funny seeing her mad just because, I mean, I understand why she was mad. I just thought it was funny because I feel like she was overreacting a little bit. But anyhow, so we're all standing around thinking, what are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to just stay out here all night? We have classes in the morning. How are we supposed to get our stuff? Are we going to be able to go back in our apartment tomorrow or any day soon? What are we supposed to do? So my one roommate is like, okay, why don't we go sit in my car and try to figure out what to do? Because we had seen other people go and sit in their cars, because since this was August, it wasn't super cold out, which was great, but it was kind of like hot out. So we go and sit in her car and try to figure out what to do. And by this time, it was like 11 o'clock at night. So we're sitting in her car trying to figure out what we're going to do. And my one roommate calls her parents and it's like, yeah, the power's out in the whole area for the apartments. The power's out in my apartment. And the RA said, just go stay with someone we know. But we don't know anybody we could go stay with. So then her mother's like, okay, if you guys need to, I can pay for a hotel room and you could stay there the night. So at first we're like, okay, we'll just wait a few minutes and see if we can go back into our apartment. And then we wouldn't have to get a hotel room. So we're waiting a few minutes and everything, and we're still not able to go into our apartment. So my roommate calls back her parents and is like, okay, we want you to pay for a hotel room for us so we can spend the night somewhere. So before that happens though, that same roommate, we're sitting in the car trying to figure out what to do. She goes, I really have to go to the bathroom. And of all times to have to go to the bathroom, she has to go now. So what we end up doing is going to my other roommate's friend's place, and she ends up going to the bathroom. We all go to the bathroom because we don't know when we're going to be able to go back into our apartment. And this is all before she had gotten her mother to buy us a hotel room. So anyhow, so then we get back in the car, we go back to the apartment area, and we're like, okay, what are we supposed to do? And that's when she called her mother, and was like, okay, I'll get you guys a hotel room. And so, since she was the one whose mother was buying us a hotel room, we get out of my one roommate's car and go into the other roommate's car. And I would like to say, at this time, I did not have a car here at school, so I couldn't be like, oh, we can just go in my car. We couldn't do that because I didn't have a car, which is another thing that I wish I had at that time that I regret not having. But yes, so we go and get in my other roommate's car, and we end up going to some motel, and we don't know how long we're gonna not be able to go back in our apartment. And it's funny, as soon as we get to this, it was actually a motel, not a hotel, but as soon as we get there, we're like, oh, it's right next to Sheetz. And for those of you that don't know what Sheetz is, it's basically like a gas station that has like food there, like pre-made food you can like order and get and stuff. And we're like, oh, we're hungry, but we actually don't get anything to eat. So we go inside the motel, we check in, and it's funny, my one roommate asks the front desk lady, and she's like, oh, do you guys give out any toothbrushes or hairbrushes and stuff? And she's like, no, we don't do that. Which I think is weird, they don't do that, because normally when you miss a flight and you have to like stay somewhere overnight because you missed your flight and you go to a hotel, then they give you a toothbrush and a toothpaste, and they give you a hairbrush and a t-shirt. But this place didn't do that, and I guess that's because it's a motel and they just don't do that. So my roommate was mad about that, but we end up going to our room and we get in there. It's not the best of rooms, but it's doable for the night. And we go to, and we're like, okay, the first thing we have to figure out is sleeping arrangements, and we have 2 beds. And so we're like, okay, who's sleeping with whom? And I just go, oh, I'll sleep with her, one of my roommates and stuff. So that like made it easier for like figuring out sleeping arrangements. So we go and lay in bed, and as soon as we turn off the light and we get ready to go to sleep, my one roommate gets an email from our RA, and it's like, oh, you guys can go back in your apartment. And at that point, we're so tired, we had quite the night, and we're just fed up. And we're like, oh my god, are you effing kidding me? And we're at that point, we're like so mad and just tired and just really want the day to be over. And once they sent that email to us, we had already gotten in bed, paid for a hotel room, and we're just really exhausted. So we make the decision to just stay at the motel for the night because we already paid for it and we're already in bed. So we're like, let's just stay at the motel for the night, leave tomorrow morning at like 8 o'clock, and get back to our apartment because me and my other roommate had 9 o'clock classes the next day, so we had to leave early in the morning and stuff. So we're like, let's just go to bed now, stay at the motel, and just leave early the next morning. So fast forward to the next morning. The next morning, the alarm goes off, and we're all getting up, getting ready to leave. And my one roommate goes, so did you guys sleep okay? And we're all like, no, that was terrible. We didn't sleep at all. Because that hotel room was freezing cold all night. And granted, we could have turned the heat on in the motel room, but we just didn't because we were just so tired. And sadly for me, I was next to the like air conditioning thing, so it was super cold for me more than the other people. And secondly, the bed was so uncomfortable. Like, oh my god, it was so uncomfortable. So none of us slept that night. But we ended up getting up and leaving and going back to our apartment. And it's funny, when we got back to our apartment, it was still kind of dark out because this was August, so before daylight savings time. And she's like, oh yeah, you can see which one is our apartment because you can see the light on in my room. So we go back to our apartment, and we're just so tired. We just immediately go back to bed. I did for a few minutes because, as I said, I had a 9 o'clock class. But yes, that is quite the eventful first day of classes that I've had last semester for my senior year, and it's quite the experience that I will never forget. It'll be something I will tell my grandkids. I'll be like, I remember the time when. But yes, this is something that I thought was unique to me and I thought would be interesting to share with you. Because probably this has never happened to you before at school. Now, some things I would like to address about the story that I wish were different were, one, that I grabbed my money before leaving my bedroom so that I could have helped my roommate pay for the hotel room. But afterwards, when we got back to the apartment, I was like, oh, I'll help pay for the motel room because I feel bad the parents had to pay for a room for us for the night. So I helped to pay for it. And secondly, I wish I had my own car here at school at that time. That way I could have helped at least get us somewhere to stay the night. And thirdly, I wish that the RAs had been, I guess, trained on how to handle this kind of a situation. Because they just told us to go stay with someone we know. But what if you're like me and my roommates and you don't know anybody? Or you do know people, but you just don't know people you can go stay with the night because of where they're staying. They don't have any room for you. So those are 3 things that I wish were different about that situation. And another thing is that I liked about that situation is that my roommates and I all stuck together during this time. Meaning not one of us ran off and tried to find our own place to stay for the night. Which I will say, this may sound mean, but I'm going to say it anyway. If I had my roommates I had previously, like during the fall semester of my junior year, so 2 years ago, I know for certain they would have ran off and tried to find their own place to stay, and I would just been like, well, what am I supposed to do? Because at that time, again, I did not have my car. So that is why I'm glad I had these roommates at that time, and they stuck together, and we all figured out where to stay together. And what I also like about the situation is it brought me and my roommates close together. Because at this time, I had the one girl who was in the room next to me at the time. She was actually my roommate the previous 2 semesters, so I'd already lived with her before, so I was comfortable around her. But the other 2, I didn't really know a whole lot. So this event gave us a good time to bond, and I would make jokes and be like, oh, well, at least we get to bond and get to know each other better and stuff. So that's the big thing I really liked about the situation is it made us closer together. So I hope you guys liked hearing about my unique story about college, and it's something I will never forget about college, and I feel like it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience that I'll have because I know that a lot of people will not experience this before. So if you liked this video and liked hearing about this story, then don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you like this video. And if you're not already, subscribe to this channel by clicking the subscribe button down below to be notified for when I upload another video. Or if you did like this kind of video, then subscribe to this channel to get more videos like this one. And if you want other storytime videos, then just let me know in the comments down below.